weren't in a great starting position, but fortunately, one thing which is decent are the wheels. Woo! Woo! The wheels. The wheels are Alex rims on what I'm guessing is a generic Novitec hub, which you get on loads of bikes. We've got Tetro 160 rotors. The rotors look all right. Hey, if I need a rotor, I've probably got some 1999 Cannondale ones I could smack on it. Knew they'd come in handy one day. Anyway, so these rims have a 19mm internal section, which means for using for gravel, I can stick some decent sized tyres on this. And yeah, the rims, the wheels are straight. The bearings need replacing, but the discs are okay, and the free hub body's all right as well. So the wheels will get reused. The tyres will not. The guy said that the tyres are new. They definitely are not new, but they're gonna get taken off anyway. So that's where we started from. But now let's have a look at where we're gonna go to, because that's a far more interesting and encouraging place. Where have we put the remote control? I don't know. I don't know. Panic! Oh no, I won't ever be able to stop the video. Sorry, this is going to be recording forever now. Sorry. Ah, here it is. Didn't stop. So, seeing as rebuilding cup and cone hubs is not that common a task anymore, I think it's actually probably worth covering it because it could be a bit of a forgotten thing that people don't do so much anymore. So in terms of the basic bits, what you will need are a set of Torx keys. Those are to remove your disc rotor bolts. Sometimes those can be Allen key based, but not often. A set of cone spanners. You're going to need some decent quality grease that is designed for bearings, unlike the grease which the person I bought this from had used. If you're replacing them, you're going to need some new bearings. You're going to need some rotor bolts. Not actually going to use those ones, got some spangly ones on the way. Now, to do this properly, you're going to need a better work surface than this wooden bench here. The reason being that you don't want your balls to fly off, obviously. You could use some kind of fancy pants work surface, some kind of padded workbench type device cover type thing, but I would personally recommend something far, far more practical and useful and very, very cheap, and that we all have. Ta-da! So, why use an old towel? Well, it's actually very practical because not only is it going to keep things clean, but if you haven't got a fancy magnetic tool tray like what I've got here, let's say you've got a ball bearing and you drop it, it doesn't go anywhere. It just stays put. So that helps us keep everything in order and we won't lose anything and we're not going to make a mess. So it's just a useful little tip. So here we go, here's a close-up view of the cup and cone assembly. So on the top here, you have the lock nut, which obviously screws down onto the axle, and underneath you've got the cone itself, which tightens down onto the bearings, which are underneath this metal seal, such as it is. And you can see you've got a spanner flap on both of those things. So the cone spanner sits in to the cone underneath. There we go, like that. So there we go, that's the cone spanner is attached there. And then you stick your other cone spanner onto the lock nut on top. And then you can undo the two. You hold one to undo the other basically. So obviously you undo the lock nut anti-clockwise whilst holding onto the other spanner. And that lets you open everything up and disassemble it. Right, so let's make a start. Top tip here is we're going to use our grease as a glue. Now, what I mean by that is that we've obviously got loose bearings here, and loose bearings have an annoying habit of rolling around. And if we bring our hub in here, as you can see, we've got a nice shiny bearing surface in there. And the problem with shiny bearing surfaces is that bearings just sort of fall down the drain in the middle. Now we obviously don't want that to happen, so what we're going to do is we are going to bring in our tube of grease. And we're going to give it a little bit of a smear with grease in here. Bit of nice park grease in here. This stuff is good quality and will last a very long time. So anyway, we bring our bearings in, and all we need to do is plop them on the grease, and hey presto, they don't disappear down the drain. And then what we do is we put a nice smoosh of grease over the top of them as well, which is going to obviously lubricate things nicely. There is one side done, and we will just turn it over and we will do the other side exactly the same way. Right, so there we go, we're done with our grease. That is that part done. As you can see, all super handy. It's lovely because nothing's going to fall out, nothing's going to go anywhere, and we can now basically reinstall the axle. We've got to reinstall our little caps here, which just push into place like so, and then we can bring our axle in. We'll stick them in from this side. Okay, right. Then we reinstall the cone on this side. You've got the cone which is pushing in onto the bearings and a lock nut on top of it. So what you do is you want to set the cone on the end. That's the first part I installed, the pointy bit, which is sitting on the bearings. That needs to be sitting at just the right tension so that you don't have any looseness in the axle. So we are going to get our cone spanners, and different hubs have different size cones, different size spanners required. This one uses a 17 and a 15. So the 15 is for the inner and the 17 is for the lock nut. So basically what you do is you snug your lock nut, you hold your cone in place with your inner spanner, and you tighten the lock nut down on top of it to hold it into place. Let's just have a feel of that. And now, ooh, silky smooth. Yep, that is now spot on. That is actually feeling really, really nice. Now, as I mentioned last time, they're half decent wheels. It's stupid to just get rid of them. And like I said, I've sort of gladly discovered that the bearings in these wheels are actually cup and cone, which means that I was able to strip them and rebuild them, and they feel all right. They're not amazing, but they feel fine. Hi. These have been cleaned with isopropyl fully upcycle those wheels to modernise them and make them tubeless. Incredibly floppy, a little bit floppy, shapely. Budget tubeless tape, which I bought online. It doesn't have the bestest reviews. I suspect I'll be speeding this bit up for you. We're going to run this round the rim. That is one done, and get it cranked down nice and tight onto the rim itself. Both of those went on straight away. I look very red in the face there. It's almost like I've been bent over for the last 5 minutes. Ooh, my ring's fallen off.